We're going to get started. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for coming. My name is Wendy Brockhouse. I'm the Workplace Engagement Coordinator in the Office of Employee Engagement and Development. And I, in a former role, was a trauma hospital chaplain, and I helped a lot of people have end-of-life conversations. And I realized as part of that process, like, not only did I not know very much about it at first, but a lot of people had concerns, had fears. There's some stigma around it with some people's families, a lot of mixed feelings around end-of-life conversations, or even conversations around medical emergencies and what to do, how to make decisions. So that's why I wanted to offer this for the JCCC community so that we can just have a conversation about it, because higher education is about preparing people to go out into the world and thrive, whether we're employees or students or both. And one of the goals of our Office of Employee Engagement and Development is to empower employees to thrive through a variety of development and engagement opportunities. So, excuse me, flight check. This is the Healthcare Decisions Day event. So if you've come for that, you're in the right place. And our speaker this morning is Odessa Sawyer from she's a program coordinator with the Center for Practical Bioethics. She has a master's of social work and experience in the military and other social service roles. She sees end of life as an underserved topic and hopes to shed light on and destigmatize this life stage. So thanks so much for being here. Welcome.
Good morning, everybody. So yes, I'm Odessa, and I really enjoy, which doesn't sound really weird, I enjoy talking about end-of-life care and all of the avenues and nuances about it. My disclaimers, because I did forget my disclaimer slide, I'm gonna just do it now. There might be emotional distress. If you feel that, it's okay. Take a deep breath. We're all adults. I fully empower you to take a deep breath, take a step out, come back in, take down my information, and then come back to it at another time in more private settings. I am a community educator, so that means I'm willing to meet my community where you are. And if that means that this space is not where you are right now, I need to come back to me later, that's absolutely okay. I do not have any legal conflicts with JCCC, neither does the center. I'm here on behalf of the center. And yeah, on your tables, there are, and I know it's gonna feel really, really weird. So COVID happened to all of us. I got my social work degree through COVID, and I realized that adulting is already heavy as it is. Like that's how it is. And that we kind of got so wrapped up in the rat race, we lost our whimsy. So every time I have these talks, I always bring some markers, some crayons, some coloring sheets. So having something to do with your hands helps you process and lower those big emotions that will come into play later on in this conversation. So feel free if you want to color. I do have kind of it's end of life. And so I do have some baby animals eating other baby animals. So because the circle of life is everywhere at all stages, so you're welcome to color one. There's also just some more mandala, just kind of soothing pieces. There's crayons, markers, whatever suits your fancy. Take them with you if you want to color them here so you can have a good laugh in your office later. Whatever works out for you. But I do not require eye contact. And I want you guys to come for me at foremost. Just interrupt me. Again, we're adults. I'm not a professor. This is not that setting. So let me see if my clicker will work. Yay! So always gotta have a table of contents. So I'm gonna talk about the center because can't talk about this without the center. Kind of who I am. And then I've broken up advanced care planning / advanced directives into like 3 major chunks. The medical side of it, how hospitals interact with it and how I interact with hospitals with it, the legal side of it, because that comes into play, and then the social side. Most of my talk, we focus more on the social side because that's the underserved side of this. How do we have a talk? How do we approach this in our own lives? So then whenever you get to interacting with the medical or legal side, you feel prepared and empowered. Okay, so the Center for Practical Bioethics has been around for the last 44 years, helping hospitals navigate ethical dilemmas. So we have on our team, we're a very, very small team. We have two 4 ethicists that go into hospital settings. They are called in whenever the hospital doesn't know what to do. Whether that is they get a patient that comes in that is houseless and they don't know what kind of care to provide, or they have a family conflict about the next treatment plan. The patient wants this, the family wants this, they're yelling in the hospital room. What do we do? Our ethicists come in and help navigate that. Because we are in 2026, we have since 2016 started handling the technology side of the ethics with AI and medical records, which AI in hospitals have been around for a very, 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 very long time. People don't realize that. MRI machines, a lot of those are actually classified in that, a lot of diagnostic tools. But the learning side of AI is where, because AI is, we call it augmented intelligence. It's not artificial, it's augmented. It's taking the human intelligence and switching it into what we need it to be. And so we do have a team that helps hospitals navigate their AI policies, directives, and that's where I intersect a lot, is with a lot of the policy engagement with the hospital systems. So that's our website QR code in case you want to find out more. We do have events. We have a talk every year, and since I'm doing this with you all, I'll end up sending you those invitations and also probably some free tickets so you guys can come to some fancy doctor-led stuff if you want to dress up one night. So that's the center. We are always looking for ways to engage with the community. It's just so, bioethics is such a fascinating term because it's like, what does that even mean? You know, it's the act of acting ethically. So ethics is a big philosophical idea. Do I turn left or do I turn right? Do I take the blue pill or do I take the red pill? You know, it's an Alice in Wonderland, but we take the Alice in Wonderland and put it into actual steps and actual policies that impact people's lives. So it's always different every day. And it's super duper fascinating and it's interesting for many, many reasons. Oh, there we go. All right. So, went too fast. So, I'm Odessa Sawyer. I don't like my headshot, so I did not put a picture of me. And also you guys get to see me in person. So I got my undergraduate from Avila in social work in 2022. To get into that program, I actually got into that program right at the start of COVID. So, which was very heartbreaking because then I missed out a chance to go see India's social programs, but that's fine. But I really got to see our social safety net in work slash not in work immediately. Interacting with the population I interacted with in that time was while I worked with the Lighthouse, which handles women that are pregnant with no support. And so they provide housing, maternity care, helping them get clean sometimes. It's a house, well, they just bought a new property. So they have, I think, up to now 12 women and children. And normally it's the teen pregnancies. So seeing COVID happen while trying to work with maternal care and maternal health was a really, really big jolting experience for me. I didn't want to be a social worker when I grew up. I actually didn't like social workers. I grew up in DCF care. And so I was like, nope, social workers are awful. They did nothing but ruin my life. And then full circle, I ended up coming back. Finding out that in the 80s, a lot of those people were not actually social workers. They were other professions that were put in social work roles. So a social worker is not always direct care. Obviously, I'm a macro social worker, so I enjoy policy. I enjoy going and working in the state house. I enjoy legislation. I enjoy community education. These are my wheelhouses. Community health is everyone's job and everyone's responsibility, and part of that's educating everybody. So that's why I went to KU. They had a really good, and I worked with the ACLU with a lot of their legislative reform, working on bathroom laws, and advocating for name changes, working with the Hispanic population, being something else. I did get adopted, but my dad is Hispanic, and so I live a very intersectional life myself. My mom is white, my dad's Hispanic, my 2 sisters are half Korean. So having that very intersectional view of the world kind of helps me see problems as everyone's problem. So that's kind of a little bit about me. I came to end of life care after KU. I was looking for a job, and this one had policy work in it. And I really, while I was in Afghanistan, I got to see that culture's view of death. It's where I deployed to back in 2013. So many years ago, and interacting with that and helping explain, medical care, to a complete, I don't speak Farsi. I never learned how to speak Farsi or Pashtun. I tried really hard, but it did not stick, unfortunately. And interacting with that and seeing grief and death in a different way outside of the American culture, was very eye-opening for me. And so, and even in Afghanistan, their cultures, they have about 25 different cultures in just the one region I was in. So seeing it in so many different ways, and reacting to it in an empathetic way, which I know military empathy is not probably some word you hear in the same sentence. But as a military police officer and who I am, I couldn't help but be empathetic. So that was what led me down this rabbit hole to where I am today. So, advanced care planning. Into the meat and potatoes of it. So there are two different, and I forgot my third pillar. So advanced care plans, there's actually like a little middle here. Advanced care plans, what you want. What do you want? How do you see yourself? It's when something happens, what are you gonna do? Advanced care plans, like any other plans in life. You plan to buy a car. You don't just go walk onto a dealership, open the door, sit down and drive off. You talk to your mom, you talk to your grandma, you talk to your best friend, you go and look online. If you're my husband, you watch 100 billion different YouTube videos about the different cars you want. You talk to your insurance agent about what color will get you the best rates while you still look good in it. It is not something you just walk into. If you buy a house, also, you go through a multitude of hoops. Like, what do you want? That first house, I'm learning. That first house, you'd make a lot of sacrifices. You know what? I really don't need a fenced-in backyard. That would be an extra $5,000. I can't afford that right now. But my next house, I will. You go through and you make a list of what do you want. Having a child, that's a very big decision, or adopting a child, or even a pet. You still go through these hoops of saying, you know what, I'm going to be responsible for the emotional health, the socialization of this living being. What support systems do I have around me in case I need to go on vacation? Who's going to watch this small human? Who is going to, if something goes wrong, who do I turn to? Whenever you take that responsibility of caring for a living creature. It's the same thing. Advanced care plan is just another step in life. What are you going to do if you do get pneumonia? Do you know what a ventilator is? Do you know how that feels? Do you know what is your mom's view of you having a DNR? What or who that person might be? What questions do you not know? There's so much that, and I think that COVID kind of highlighted that for a lot of people, how much we don't know about how the medical system works, and how much we don't know whenever we go behind that curtain. And we, I don't know if you guys watch The Pit, or, if you guys are Grey's Anatomy fans from back in the day, you hear that flatline sounds, and Dr. McDreamy walks in. What are we going to do? What does that mean? If it means, how far does a DNR extend? Does that mean you don't want the paddles? Does that mean you don't want CPR? Does that mean that you don't want to be touched at all? Feeding tubes. There's so much that goes into it, but then there's even more, because we are not just medical machines walking around. If you are in a coma, what stories do you want to hear? What if you have to go for a long stay? Where is your rosary? Where is your Quran? Where is your blanket that your mom made you've been holding on to keep the moths from eating it? What are those things that make you that you want in this setting? Because you have the doctor's like, you can't go home. What are those things that keep you a human being and not a bill, not just a feeding tube or not feeding tube? What are those things? Who don't you want in that room? My baby sister is not allowed anywhere near me. If I'm in the household for any reason, I don't care if it's an ingrown, no, she cannot come around. Which is not good blood. I love her very much, but it would not help bring me back from any illness or bring me any comfort. So having that plan, it's not just the medical side, but it's also the use side. that people side. The middle, the little pillar here is an advanced directive, which is a medical form, but it is just that. It is just the medical form. It covers the feeding tube. It covers all of those procedures that you will, about what you want to happen, all the way from certain vaccines to disposing of your body. It covers all of that. And then there's TPOP and Pulsed. I put this up here because it's something that you might interact with if you, we're all able-bodied at the present moment. That could change very quickly. If you get a cancer diagnosis, if you have a diagnosis that the doctor says, hey, you have X amount of time, we need to get your TPOP/Pulsed in order. That is transferable patient operating procedures, and I forgot the P. But, and depending on which side of the state line you're on, is whether to go by TPOP or Pulse. That's why I put them both up there. The physician leads this document. The advanced care plan, the advanced directive is patient-led. So you have to do it. The most the doctor will do if you're, going for anything where you might be put under, is say, hey, do you have an advanced directive? And then you say yes or no. And then they check the box. And then that's it. They don't touch it anymore. It's hands off. They did their duty. That was it. With TPOP and Pulse, the physician leads it. He says, all right, you have this diagnosis. I'm really sorry. Let's fill in your TPOP Pulse. And that is if you are at home, if you're already at a care setting, it'll be a pink slip. That is now nationally acknowledged. It's a pink slip is what it is. And that says that has your DNR, it has your high level things, your DNR, it has your location of your will, like it has a little box that the doctor will type in, my will's kept here, here's my next of kin, and my blood type, do I want blood transfusions? Like it's a very high level crash cart kind of piece of paper. And that will go with you everywhere you go. That'll be part of your medical file until that terminal illness is no longer terminal. Yeah.
Okay, so they only bring this up if it is a terminal illness?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that is if there is that physical deadline that, so, I mean, there's many things that could be, and it's not, these two forms do not necessarily talk. So that is the frustrating part of it. TPOP and Pulsed is very, very much the mechanical piece of it. It is very, and that is mainly, honestly, the TPOP is to cover physician neglect and EMT neglect is really what it comes down to. And so, which is a very weird, I don't love saying that, but it is the honest truth of it. Any questions about those before I go on to the legal interaction? Yeah.
So you said it depends on which side of the state line you're on for the two terms. What about other states? Would you just say pink slip? Would you?
So in the other states, you just call it the pink slip. That's a lot of them do that. It is a nationally recognized thing that has to happen backed by the federal government. So you should not ever have to bring it up. It is completely physician led. So your urologist, your whoever it is that gives you that diagnosis will end up giving that to you and filling it out with you.
They must not do this for dementia. I don't
They
think
do not.
they're terminally ill.
It is not, because there's not, so there is, so dementia, Alzheimer's, I have little nuances, those frustrate me, because there's not ever a set deadline. It can go on for years and years and years.
Past it, by the time you could do anything, you couldn't do it, you can't do anything.
Exactly. And so that is, it's very frustrating working with adults, with older adults and older adult facilities, which is where a lot of my presentations are at. They're like, oh, my husband, and I'm like, yeah, it's not that. So that's where the advanced care plan, the advanced directive comes into play with those patients. And that's why having it done sooner rather than later and then updated. But again, I'll get more into that in the whole social piece. But yeah, TPOP and Pulse is not, it's mainly for the big baddies, unfortunately, which Alzheimer's and dementia is awful. Having touched my life a lot, and slowly working on it right now with my dad. And he's in denial. So I'm right there with you. So alrighty, so There we go, the legal aspect of it. So, advanced care plan, advanced directive is not a living will. It is not a will of any sort. It does not handle what to do with your things. I do not have the credentials, the degrees, or the debt to talk about your will or living will. That is something else. Now, you can put this with your will or your living will. If you have the comfort of having a lawyer or an estate planner that is handling that, they will happily take these documents and put it in your binder of those pieces. It varies from state to state about notary. So in the Kansas side, you need to have your advanced directive notarized. On the Missouri side, you do not need it to have it notarized. Every state is different on whether or not you need to have it notarized to have it be valid. When in doubt, get it notarized. There are many banks that will do it complimentary. You guys being staff here, you guys have a notary that is part of
There
your
are many notaries here.
That's amazing. So when in doubt, notarize it. It doesn't have to be done to be notarized. So a lot of people are like, oh no, it has to be completely filled out before I can have it signed. It's not a permission slip for a field trip. Just, I got this far and I'd have peace of mind if it's just notarized. And that's okay. It's okay. Even with the advanced care plan, which is really just your hopes and dreams of tiptoeing through the daisies, go ahead and get it notarized. That notary gives your person that you name as your durable power of attorney that power to speak for you in case you don't have a voice. And it gives, and I hate that our system is this way, but it is what it is. It gives your voice the value and the credence to speak for yourself. Even if it's something as simple as a blanket, they can't argue with the notary. Then they have to go through a whole bunch of loopholes that hospitals just don't want to do. They don't have the time to. So I would get all the steps notarized. If when in doubt, notarize it. Especially if you guys have a free complimentary resource. TPOP and Post, it does have its own legal standing. Like I said, it's federally backed program that is not like, it just got signed into law. So it's not like anything that anyone can take away for any reason. It is in the American Medical Association code of this is how we do things. All right, so the social piece of it. So this is where I want you guys, if you will entertain me for a second, there's white piece of paper. I want you to write your name in the middle, or if you want to use line paper, that's fine too. But I want you to, in the middle, write your name really big. Really, really big. Because you're the center of your universe. We all, and this is going with you, no one's gonna see it. It's completely you. Now, I want you to do an arm and write your favorite color. Just bear with me. You can use a marker, you can use a pen. And then another arm, I want you to write a food you absolutely abhor. Like food I hate is, and write whatever. For me, I cannot stand black licorice. Oh, it is the smell of it, the sight of it, anything even closely related. I just cannot.
So we had.
Alrighty. Now I want another arm of a texture I enjoy feeling. Do you like fuzzy? Do you like velvet? Do you like silk? Do you like cotton? Do you enjoy cashmere, even if you don't know what that feels like? What is a texture that brings warm sensations to you? And then for one more last little bubble here, I want you guys to write, what is your favorite part of your body? I know that for me, it's weird, it's my legs. Okay, and I'm gonna tell you a story here in a minute as to why this is all important. For me, it's my legs. I love my legs. Always been pretty attached to them. I literally. So having a sense of who you are will help guide what you value and helps the conversation whenever it comes to your advanced care plan. So I joined the military whenever I was 19. I just turned 19, and I joined for love. There was a boy I was dating from my small town. He was part of the Iraq invasion right after 9/11. Okay, so a few years older than me. Obviously, really good decision maker. My mom, who was a teacher in the same town, was like, Odessa, what are you doing running around with this kid? I go, but I love him, Mom. She's like, okay. So he had really bad PTSD. That the invasion in Iraq was awful. He had terrible PTSD. There are many, many nights that he'd wake up screaming in a sweat. It was terrible. And so my wonderfully developed 19-year-old brain said, let me join the military so I can be a better wife to him and help our kids understand why they can't crawl in bed with mom and dad. That was literally the logic train. I will never forget that logic train. And so I told him my plan. He thought it was great, of course. And so he took me to the recruiter, signed me up, and I left the next week. So in that week time, I told my mom, hey, Mom, I joined the Army. My mom said, hold the horses, what did you just say to me? I said, yeah, I joined the Army and I go to basic next week. She's like, what is going on? It was highly, highly concerning. I mean, it's a very risky behavior. My olive branch was that I joined the reserves. So I wasn't gonna be going off to any base anywhere. She could still see me every day, except for 1 week in a month and 2 weeks out of the year. And so I joined and, it was fine. She eventually came around to loving me again. Thank goodness, she's my best friend. But my card came to go ahead and deploy, and it was scary. No one in my family had ever deployed. No, we're not a big military family. That's just not our thing. And so I had to talk about what would happen if something happened in Afghanistan. I had to do my research. Well, it was they gave it to us. At the time, explosive devices for drivers were very, very dangerous. I was a driver in a big truck, and there was a huge influx of drivers being paralyzed because of bombs underneath the trucks, because that's a soft part of a military vehicle, if you ever want to attack a military vehicle. So I had to tell my mom that if I lost one or both my legs, that I would no longer want to be on the earth's surface with her. My mom said, that is absolutely ridiculous. I don't agree with you. I go, you can agree or not, but this is what I want. It caused a huge rift. I had to discuss how long I would be in a coma. At that point, my mom, talking to her 21-year-old daughter, could no longer handle the conversation. She said, this conversation is done. I love you. See ya. I had to end up writing it out in a letter and leaving it in her top drawer, and a copy with our unit's lawyer, and I was out, shipped out. That was the last conversation I had with my mom. That was devastating for both of us. My mom at the time was going through her master's degree, and my grandmother had completely slid hard into her Alzheimer's and dementia, so she had no clue who any of the family members. My mom was caretaker, dealing with her daughter deploying and talking about death, and then also, dealing with her own life and raising 2 other kids. It was awful. I didn't know. I was a 21-year-old. My brain had just got done growing. Like, I had no clue. And I had no clue what I valued about me. If you ask me now, if I lose my legs, am I really going to not be on the surface of the earth? No. Will I be miserable for a little bit? Yeah, but I'll make it work. I still have a DNR. She still doesn't understand that. And but I've had more of a conversation about it. But knowing and having those reflections with yourself is super important. What concerns you about death? Does a coma, is that genuinely a fear you have? And that's legitimate, and that's okay. If laying there and, having people poking and prodding you make you uncomfortable, then say, no, don't keep me alive past the 24-hour mark. I'm done. Please be done. Knowing the difference between brain dead and dead is different. There's actually 3 different stages of death. A lot of people don't realize that. At what point are you saying, please say goodbye to me? What is a comfort to you? What is something that, because there is plenty of, I'm not saying that you're going to have that comeback story where you're going to, feel the blanket on you and you're gonna all of a sudden take a deep breath and like, I'm awake, thank you. That's not necessarily what I'm saying, but if it would help your peace of mind knowing that that was there in this moment, knowing then, you know what, I know that my blanket will be there. I'll rest easy. I know that this smell will be in the room with me. I'll rest easy. And knowing and having that conversation bridge with your person who's going to help take care of you and make these decisions will help them feel at ease with making very, very tough decisions. One of my mom's biggest concerns about dying right now is who's going to take care of my baby sister. My sister, we love her very much. But now she has 2 kids and she lives at home with my parents. She's like, Odessa, I know you guys have issues. Will you take them in? And I'm like, because my sister generally probably cannot live by herself. And it's a hard talk that we've had to have a few times. And I'm like, okay, what in the will are you going to do so that I'm financially supported to support my adult sister and her 2 kids? Because I also have my own 2 kids. I don't have room for that, but knowing that my sister's taken care of gives my mom that peace of mind, like, okay, if something were to happen to me, my daughter and my grandkids will be okay. Because it's, what do you value about living? My dad is eating. My dad loves eating. So my dad's part of his advanced care plan is that he doesn't want to feed him to him. He's like, if I can't taste the food, don't feed me. That's weird to me. The medical side of it makes him very uncomfortable. So he really values eating. He does it probably 10 times a day, and it's a varied array of what it is. It's part of his love language, if you will, if you believe in that, which I know it's been debunked. But, I value mobility. If I'm going to be bedridden for a long time, if I'm going to be in a vegetative state, I'm good. So knowing that, having that self-reflecting part and being okay with it with you helps it be okay to communicate it to somebody that cares about you. So going to that person that cares about you. So it's called the Durable Power of Attorney, which is DPOA. Oh, what? Hold on. Yep, hold on. Skip it. I mentioned enough. I got too heavy. We're good. Okay, so all right. Clicker. Okay, so the durable power of attorney. There are a few things that you need to know about durable power of attorney. A lot of myths around it, a lot of concern around it, depending on when I was with the Latino community, it was that their preacher had too many people in their parish, so he couldn't be for everybody. He's like, no, we all go to the same Catholic church, and he's all of our durable power of attorney. It's like, okay, hold on a second. Is there, somebody underneath him that you trust as well? So they have to be 18 years old. You cannot have a minor be durable power of attorney for you. They will be allowed to make medical decisions for you if you cannot speak. If you have the ability to speak, you will still maintain control of your medical choices. The hospital will not go over you and say, oh, you know what, you're napping. Hey, do you want them to go ahead and, that's not gonna happen. If you have the ability to talk, they will allow you to talk for yourself. If their ability to control is just in the medical sphere. So it doesn't go to your will. It doesn't go to, they're not gonna be able to sell your house while you're in the hospital just because of durable power of attorney. They can't just knock in the door and say, yep, I'm in charge of their life. I'm gonna go ahead and make all these choices. They're not gonna drain your bank account. It's not that. It is to assist in making medical decisions when you cannot speak. Assist in making those comfort measures when you cannot speak for yourself. If you don't have them named because you have bad blood or you are a transplant from someplace else, it will be your next of kin, whoever is closest physically, or your spouse. So if it's not named, if you don't have someone that you want to trust with. So this is where things get a little bit easier, I promise. Talking to your DPOA doesn't have to be big and scary, okay? It is hard. It is scary because we're talking about something that none of us know. We've never been through it for ourselves. So break it up. Don't have one big setting. Don't bombard them. That's where I went wrong as a 21-year-old with my mom. I bombarded her. I just walked in the kitchen like it was no big deal, like I'm talking about the next football game that's on the TV. And for me, because it was no big deal for me, like, yeah, I'll live, I die, I don't care, whatever. For her, it's her baby girl. It was huge to her. The setting was wrong. I bombarded her, I rushed it. You know, having it be in a safe space, having it be comfortable. That's part of the reason why I did bring the coloring and the candy canes. I didn't do the lifesavers, although I appreciate the double entendre. But having food, you know, food is a good mutual ground to meet somebody at. Say, hey, can we meet for coffee? Have your favorite coffee spot, have them help hold something warm. Or if you guys have a garden that you like to walk through. You know, my mom and I now, we do walk and talks. We enjoy, she has property out there that we walk through the woods, and that's where we normally have our deepest talks, is whenever she feels safe in those spaces. It's about what makes you feel safe and where they can meet you, okay? But it's still your talk. Break it into sessions. It's not have to all be done right this second, unless you know something that they don't know. And in that case, I would advise having a team. You don't have to have just one durable power of attorney. You'll have one person who's in the lead. But if you need to have a team that supports them, you can do that. That's called supported decision making. And so if you say that you have one person who's very medically knowledgeable because they're a nurse, or say that, and then you want that person to be part of your team. And then you have your, you know, your sibling that's very practical and just can hear what really needs to be done and like, listen, no nuts and bolts, this is what they want, and everyone will get on board. You know, you can have it be a supported model to where it's all a team effort and not one person's carrying it alone. Or if you have one person who just has it together, then that's fine too. I am both my parents' DPOA. That's the other thing. Age matters. I had a client who they didn't have anyone near. They are estranged from their family, and their DPOA was 2 years older than them. Well, the issue with that is that you could both be having medical emergencies at the same time, or it's very similar, and then what? Then you either are left to, because this person had no family on. If you have no kin on your paperwork, no next of kin, what you'll do is become a ward of the state. And right now, the Kansas State DPOA has 372 patients on her desk. Okay, so if that tells you at all, and that number is only going up with houseless individuals, with the rise of the housing crisis that we're having. So social factors do affect, so that's another reason why this talk is just super important. If you have somebody, if you have that one person who's your pillar and like, I really want you to do this, and like, I really can't. Like my mom, like I said, she's my best friend. She'll go to Earth for me. She's not my DPOA. She's too close. She cannot handle, she just can't. And that's okay. So my husband, Mr. Introvert, great teacher. He's like, what you want, babe? That's fine. Like, he's go with the flow. I call my big draft horse. He's 6 foot tall. He's just plods along. I know he'll get there eventually. It ain't gonna be fast, but it will be done good. So, you know, I raise horses, so I'm a little high-strung Arabian that can prance around and is flashy and, you know, gets hot-headed and he'll just plod along, and I'm like, one with the tether. So he's my DPOA. He can hear what I have to say. He can hear saying, you know, and not saying it's not hard for him because he does love me, so he says. But whenever we're having our daughter, before that, I made sure I update all this, because the unfortunate fact is, you know, 1 in 4 Black women do die in childbirth. And that's a very real possibility that we had to face with him being a white guy. He didn't even know that was even a statistic or even something to be concerned about. I go, if it's between me and the baby and she's good, I'm good to go. It's fine. He's like, whoa. He goes, okay, that's fine, but okay. You know, my mom lost it and walked out of the room. I'm like, ma'am, you act like I'm making this choice. Like, it's not like, she just cannot handle hearing it. So, have a backup person in case that person is like, I love you so much that I cannot hear this. That's okay. Have a backup person that you're ready to have that talk with. The talk doesn't have to be hard. So I actually have a little gift for you guys. I don't know. I'm gonna just these are conversation starters. And I'm gonna just put a few on, you just take them with you because I have a lot. And they're both in English and Spanish. I did that on purpose, I didn't know my audience. So take a few. take them all, I'm not worried about it. But it will ask, and it's a really fun little game, because they're not all, hold on, let me get a few more. They're not all about life and death, okay? Sometimes it's just like, what was your favorite drive? What moment brought you joy in your life? And you get to really build those memories and those connection pieces. And then then they do get heavier questions of, where do you think your soul goes after you die? You know, and it can ease you into that talk about death. These are table topics. If you guys want more, if you want to look through them and find some that vibe with you, I have a whole box and you're more than welcome to flip through them. Or you can leave them in a common space. But it's you can get them on Amazon too. But it helps break into it. You know, it's like, hey, what's something that's really hard that you overcame? And then you have a story of resilience in your bank. Or you can share that story. One of my mom's hardest things that whenever she's having a hard day and when she's in good health, I remind her of this story. I'm like, hey mom, remember when I redid this? She's like, oh yeah, I can do that. You're right, I can fight this. And so if it's something to where you can build that bond with your DPOA even before you can't speak, and you just need that extra push. If you are, you know, chemo's not fun. Alzheimer's isn't fun. And those are moments whenever sometimes you need that connecting bridge to be able to recenter and remind yourself who you are. Like, hey, if you could please remind me of this moment. I have a notebook on my bedside of proud little glimpses, you know, even in today's very, very heavy time where the news and social media and everything is just battering you down. We have to find those glimmers. And so I have a glimmer notebook. I have my 9-year-old son have a glimmer notebook. It's like, what are your glimmers? What are those little stories? And it helps recenter yourself, who you are. And then if I'm having a moment in labor, my husband grabbed my glimmer notebook. He's like, hey, babe, think about this meal that you really, really were proud of. I'm like, oh my God, you're so right. And it completely took my mind off the task and helped me refocus. And it gave me that mental break to push through something very, very hard. These are the talks you can have that can lead to those medical decisions. Whenever you're looking at, and actually I think let me check my time here before okay, I'm doing good. Whenever you're looking at and I'll pull it up for you guys, whenever you're looking at the advanced medical directive, it's in sections and you can kind of build your conversations around those sections. So one of the sections is, you know, assisted living. So feeding tube, assisted breathing, things like that. Think about a story you want to share with them that could lead into needing to assist. So saying, man, I used to love playing volleyball and I was always the setter. That was my role, it was my gym, I loved it. I would set people up so they could spike it and we always got points and it was a really awesome moment in my life to where it was a support. Can I talk about a time that's coming up that I'll need some support for you? You know, I need to fill out this form and this part's talking about ventilation and feeding tubes. Can we talk about that? Can I set you up so that we can spike it down and I can have a really comfortable medical situation in case it happens? Nothing's happening now. I'm fine. Unless you're not fine, don't say you're fine. Don't lie to them. But, you know, set it up so that you can segue in a comfortable way. And I'll have my email at the end of this. You guys can always, I am all for role playing. It makes things a lot easier. So if that's something like, hey, can I schedule time with you? We can just kind of role play through this because I do want this paperwork done. Because the world is heavy and scary and weird right now. I can happily set up a time, whether a video call, a physical call, I can just come in the office. Like I'm pretty flexible. So what questions have about DPOA, who to choose, you know, ensure that your person that you choose for your DPOA not only is 18 plus, not only is emotionally capable, but also is like mentally capable and ready. That is an issue. If you have somebody in your life that doesn't have the cognitive abilities to do that, it does make it harder and needs to be done even slower. So you need to start sooner. My sister's one of those. She has the cognitive ability. She's just turned 30. She has a cognitive ability of a 19-year-old. And so we have to do these in extremely small steps of end of life. What does this look like? Like having any looking to the future just isn't part of her capacity. So we have to really slowly ease her into it. The setup and the setting for that takes way longer than the actual conversation, because to get her in a mental space to handle it. This doesn't have to be rushed. You don't rush into buying a house. That's a huge financial investment. This is a huge piece of your life too. It is just as big and as important as all the other pieces. And preparing for it can happen. Give yourself the grace too, because you're gonna need to set it down. It's not something it's easy on your heart either just to rush through. So I think the next one is my tools for you guys. I'm gonna exit out of this and see if I can go to the prepare for your care, because I'll show you the website. 1 second, so I think I can do this. Yeah. There are a lot of, so this here is a prepare for your care website. I have the QR code up in a moment so you guys can scan it and save it on your phones. But it's prepareforyourcare.org, and it builds the advanced directive with you. Okay, so you don't have to go and find a paper, and it does it for your state, because not every state will ask every question. I'm not donating, I'm broke. So let's go down here to, we're in Kansas. You can do it in Spanish or you can do it in English. And even on the Spanish version, it has the English underneath it. So there's no issues or confusion over, what does this question mean? Is it translated right? This has been vouched for 100 times over. So you can fill it out on the website. All right. You can sign up right here. It is completely free and they'll store it for you. So while you're doing this by yourself, you can take a break, save it, and it'll save in a PDF and it'll print off exactly what you want. So we're gonna go through this because I have a little bit of extra time here. Okay. Going to, so it has, like I said, breaks it down 3 parts: your medical decision maker, which is your DPOA, your healthcare choices, and then signing up. And then on page 14, I'll tell you.
I was gonna ask about that.
Yeah.
About notarizing when it's a digital.
So whenever it's a digital, you'll need to print it first and then have it notarized. That's just something that our technology is really advanced until that part. So unfortunately, I don't have it, but it's super easy to print. Come on, not be myself, yes. So it even tells you who you can choose. Whenever you finally get one of these done, absolutely make copies like your life depends on it, because things get lost. Your healthcare provider should upload a copy into your digital files. You have to request it. You have to take it and say, upload this into my files. And then next time, like, did you upload that to my files? So that it will travel with you. If you update it, you'll say, this is my updated one. It needs to be replaced. Those are things that you will have to do. Always go through this with your DPOA, and you can always go back. It even has wonderful definitions as far as what cardio is, pulmonary resuscitation, and kind of what those steps mean. Yep, dialysis, that's another thing. A lot of people, that is one of my biggest areas people don't fully understand what dialysis means, and the lift of that. Ask. If they're talking dialysis, but okay, is that, because dialysis can take many forms. It could be once a week. It can be 3 times a week, depending on where you are at. You asking and getting more clarification will give you the quality of life that you want. And that's my goal, is that you have the quality of life until life no longer exists for you. Same thing with transfusions. Knowing, I found out that one of my uncles gets transfusions 3 times a week, a full transfusion, not because of a tick thing, which I didn't even know about. It's like 1 in a billion. But anyway, asking what percentage transfusion you'll be getting. You know, those are things that we don't know, and we don't know to ask because it's just not talked about. So, percentage of transfusion. Who is your spiritual leader? Do you even have one? Do you not want a chaplain to come in your room like, nope, 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 I've had bad interactions with them my entire life, I don't want them, you know? Choosing where you would like to pass. If possible, what is your best case scenario? Hospitals would love for you to actually pass at home. I know that sounds really, really bizarre and hard, but it just makes it a lot easier on them. If you want to do organ donation, what organs, if any? You don't have to. Do you want to be a live cadaver? You know, there's different types of cadaverisms that you can even participate in. What are you comfortable with? Or do you just do not care? I am done with this shell. Do what you want with it legally. I do not care. You know, that's where I stand. I'm like, donate to science, you know, live, whatever. It's cool. I'm done with that. What kind of burial cremation do you want? You know, that's something that the individualized decision maker can help make those decisions. That's why you need to talk to them about it. My mom has started a fund for her burial cremation that is separate from her will. And it needs to be financially separate. The cost continues to rise. There is many different burial options that are out there that are not even completely known about, like green burials. Every state has green burial space to where you get wrapped in your own shroud. It's a very intimate setting. It is pretty cost effective. You know, there's water cremation, fire cremation, there's forced cremation. There's so many different things that it is. It's amazing how much those, you know, we hear horror stories all the time in the crematoriums. Is it actually my body or is it some other random thing? You can talk to them. You can talk to where you want that done and have that planned. Yes.
Something I learned about people who want to donate their bodies to science, like to med schools or whatever.
Yeah.
I think you have to start that process in advance with whatever school or whatnot.
Yes.
Your family can't just decide after you die.
Right.
They don't take everybody.
And they will not take everybody.
Yeah.
And your driver's license that says organ donor on it does not guarantee anything. that just means that they're gonna put you in a different kind of sack. Since I did work in the police sector for a little bit, I do know like that little thing just means that they'll put you in a different kind of sack and they'll keep you a little colder than just the sorry, I don't mean to be callous, but it's
No. What is the autopsy process? Just a brief, like how long, what happens with that?
so it depends on like the cause of death. If it's
Dementia.
So with dementia, they normally, and again, if anyone needs to step out, it is absolutely okay. They normally just do a cranial autopsy.
Okay.
And so, and then they'll see kind of what part died, and there's sometimes the hospitals request, especially with Alzheimer's and dementia, since there's still so little known about it, they might request of the family to request a part of the brain or the neurons to study where those neurological pathways died, because they can tell the date of age based on the neurons. And so they can tell, was it early onset? Did you actually have childhood dementia and it was undiagnosed because it's so deep in the brainstem? And so there's those brains, they normally will request at least a piece of the family, which is super, and they have to do it so quickly.
Right.
That you're still like, holy shit, this person isn't here.
Right.
And now you're asking me to give you this piece and also putting me the bill. Get out of here.
Yeah, and you had to pay for it too. Yeah.
Yeah. And so if you already have it set up to where you're an organ donor, that supersedes the hospital's request. So then if you have it to where it's like, say, you know, because Alzheimer's and dementia does run genetically, they're still working on finding those genetic markers, but anyway, if you have it set up ahead of time, because you know it does, like, hey, this is something that I know runs my family. I really like my brain to go to KU Med for the med students. You can set that up ahead of time, and that supersedes any hospital request that they would want. And past that, they wouldn't normally take any other need for an autopsy, to my knowledge.
Yeah.
Every situation is slightly different because we're all unique and wonderful in this rainbow of life. But as general best practice is that we only autopsy what we need.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it goes. What other questions do you guys have about this weird? But yeah, that's what the marker on your driver's license means, is scrape things up as clean as possible. So if it's auto accidents. Yes.
The advanced care directive, is it, um, since it varies by state, is it the state that you receive care in or the state that you're a resident of?
So with the advanced care directive, it needs to be, so have it, I would get it with the state that you are in. So say that you live in Kansas, say that, because I live in Kansas, I work in Missouri. So then if I have a heart attack in Kansas, they're gonna take me to a Kansas hospital to get care of, and I need to have it notarized in Kansas. I need to follow Kansas laws. Then if I'm having a medical emergency, which is where an advanced directive would kick into effect, at that state, I need to follow my P's and Q's for that state. Now, if you are, if you're, and it doesn't hurt to have one on each side of state line. Again, with Kansas and Missouri, the advanced directive is not any different really. It gets funny whenever you go to like Texas, they have funny advanced directives. North Carolina, like it's a very few that are diverge from this, and it's normally just adds an additional question. If you don't have it notarized in your specific state, it will still, like if you don't have it, that state's advanced directive, it'll still be good. Like you'll be okay. Because they'll just like, oh, you didn't answer this question, and then your durable power of attorney will have to go in and be like, oh, this is what they want. So that's why having directive and a conversation and then also a piece of paper, or a notebook or whatever, is important to have just all the pieces covered. Just in case, you're traveling or what, I mean, we're not stagnant creatures, we migrate all the time. But yeah, I would have it be in the state that you live in, because that's where you're most likely to have any kind of medical emergencies in your home within 5 minutes of your home. So just always plan for that. It's kind of my rule of thumb. Oh, of course. And outside of the US, I do not know what the advanced care plans are nationally. They're pretty, so that is unfortunately if, you're traveling. Yes.
I was wondering, because we have international students here and occasionally international like guests, visitors, like, and would they do one for Kansas while they're here if they wanted to?
I mean, if you have students that are here, I would have them do for Kansas because they're here for a longer term. Like, I mean, that's a whole semester or, several years. So, which is months of time where anything could happen, I would have them absolutely go through and get it done. Especially since there's so many different cultural beliefs on what to do with the body and what is medically acceptable. That it, to have intravenous feeding tubes is definitely not okay with, I know Hinduism for sure. Like there's some nuances so that they can still honor their culture here. So I would have them do it for Kansas, especially if they're staying on. You guys have dorms? Where people stay? Where do international students stay?
It's the commuter
Apartments. Oh, okay. Okay. I was like, wait a second. Sorry, sidebar. So yeah, I would absolutely have them if they're gonna be here for, longer than a week. In a week, chance that's, I wouldn't. So if you have like guest speakers, whatever, I wouldn't worry about that. But students, it'd be helpful, especially if English isn't their first language, and our medical model is so different than literally anywhere else in the world. Yeah. It's not necessarily. It's a C tier is what I'd call it. I'm not gonna say we're the worst, but it's a C tier. So yeah. So if you don't have the things filled out, your DPOA can say, you know what, we're gonna keep them on life support. We're just gonna keep them and keep them and keep them. And that's why it's important to have things filled out and to also talk to them. So there is this part right here, which this is highly contentious for some people, that you can have it to where your DPOA person takes over right now. Like, you know what? I don't want to make any decisions. I can still talk, but they know more than me. Ironically enough, my mom is the top box, my dad is the bottom box. My dad just doesn't, he gets very overwhelmed and overstimulated, even by being in a hospital. So he just shuts down. He just doesn't want to talk to doctors. He can talk, he just doesn't. And so even going to the chiropractor will call me and say, hey, I want to try this new thing with your dad. Is this okay? So I'm like, yeah, that's fine, sounds okay, or let me do some research and do a next appointment. So it's two different boxes because some people just really don't want to. It's just too hard. It's too many choices. No, fill out as much as you can. First name, last name, and a phone number is best. They don't need an email for your DPOA. They're not gonna email your charts or anything. They're not gonna mail them your body or anything weird, like you don't need to have an address. Make sure they are within, if you have a DPOA, I advise them to be within 8 hours drive so that they can, if something does happen, they can get here quickly. I know that is not always feasible. Okay, I also, especially for our incarcerated individuals, I always try to have, choose somebody who won't end up in jail again. Because if you're having a medical emergency and they're in lockup, they can't make those choices. Not only physically they can't take the phone call, but also their own mental status just won't allow for that. If you choose somebody to be your DPOA and then you see that they're slowly starting to lack capacity to be able to make rational choices, you can change. That's okay. Just shred it up. Okay, just shred it up. And because that's the one thing I do like about this form is that this is its own page. So you can keep all your wishes and then just shred up that who your DPOA is. I wanted to get to, because I'm almost out of time, let me get to the healthcare choices. Okay, so do you prefer making medical decisions? So it even asks how much you want that. Quality of life. This is where that people part of it is. What is important to you? Are your pets important to you? Are your family, is being independent the most important thing to you? You can click as many things. What brings your life joy? Again, these are things that even if you don't have a DPOA that you're like, just do next of kin or whatever, I just can't think about my friend group. Fill out this form, and then even there are really, really good nurses and social workers that will look at this and be like, oh, you like salsa dancing. Let me go ahead and put on this, person whenever I'm in here taking care of you or checking your vitals. You might get a better vitals reading. There is science that backs up these comfort things that do change that can help the outcome and comfort level of people. Especially whenever you get into the palliative care world, it's huge and they read it and they care a lot. So it asks you about your current health goals, what's important to you. It asks you as far as like whenever you are so sick, where your goals at. I thought that it covered a whole list. Yes, here we go. Is this where I want? Yes. So at the end of life, it's talking about the quality of life and comfort measures. So say that you are at the point where having your life exactly the way it was before is no longer an option. Your doctor will say that. So then you can check what you want, whether being in a coma is comfortable for you, hooked up to machines. So dialysis, that is something that people are like, oh no, dialysis, I just leave and come back. A lot of times you're not. You are hooked up to a machine all the time. Having a stoma, that is something that you are attached to and have to tend all the time. And being able to think for yourself as far as dementia and Alzheimer's, how does that look for you? If that is a frustrating part for you of the end of life, we need to have some discussion. There is care that we can help. Feeding, bathing, living on your own, severe pain. Pain is something that is so individualized that it's crazy. I mean, everyone's pain scale is everywhere. What is pain? There's some pains that you can deal with and some you can't, whether that is your back hurts. Well, my back hurts all the time. I've fallen off so many horses and cows and out of trucks. My back is in constant pain and I live with it. Okay. Now, if I were to break my arm, I would feel that. That's something I don't want to live with. I want to get fixed. So, some people want you to throw the books at them, and that does not matter what. Do everything in your power to help me live longer. And if that means I'm in a coma for 25 years, that's still alive. I'm down. Keep it. Some people are that way, and if that is yours, yeah, throw the book at me. Do everything you can, no matter what. So this, like I said, let me get back to my presentation really quickly. I am down my last, so you guys can at least get the website. Oh, I can just do it this way. You know what? So, that's the center website over here, prepare for your care. If you are, let me get out of your way. The AARP also has some really good resources on it that are for free as far as advanced directives and different states and little nuances. And then caringinfo.com is just a really good resource to read up on. They get a little bit more into the medical jargon of like what this might look like for you. Another thing here in Kansas City, because advanced care planning, again, going back to those comfort things, we have a death doula network, which is an up and coming profession, and it is amazing. I just met with I meet with her frequently, actually. I have a meeting next week with her. She does, because not everyone is spiritual. Sometimes your comfort is doing Reiki. Sometimes it's doing chakra balancing. Sometimes it's guided meditation. Sometimes, and they have practitioners in all of that. And so, do I need to make something bigger? Caringinfo.com, sorry. And so AC Death Dual Network, they also have death talk cafes. So people can just come and voice their concerns, voice their experiences, talk about, you know, hey, I got this diagnosis, I need to get it off my chest. Because there is something very healing about having a safe place with people that are in similar spaces as you, that are going through it. Because again, we can't ignore the fact that it is going to happen. You know, we're not all gonna buy a house, unfortunately, especially in today's markets. We're not all gonna buy a house. I know not everyone is going to drive a car. Not everyone will choose to have children. But we all, I mean, especially you guys all chose to come to a school. You had to make that choice. That was a choice that you did research on. You know, we choose every day, do I have a hamburger or a salad? Life is just full of choices. This is just another area that you can make your choices, and your choices are so important. And make your family more comfortable. Oh yeah, I forgot I'm not presentation mode anymore. Can I do this backwards? I cannot. So what questions do I have? What questions do you have? Not do I have, I don't have any questions. I mean, I do, but nothing that. Are there any questions you guys have for me? Okay, really? You go backwards. You won't let me go backwards? That's cool. What's happening? Technology. It always does what it wants. So I'm gonna go to the very last slide so I can show my information. So if you guys need me, I'm a resource to you. I'm gonna try and go to that last slide. Maybe today.
Got computer gremlins.
Did I make it? Oh,
Green foot dart.
yep, end of slide, click to exit. There we go.
There.
Hey, so I do appreciate you guys coming. I know that it's not like, you know, it's Thursday morning. We're going to talk about this really, really depressing topic, especially when we finally get some sunlight outside. But I do appreciate you guys coming because your lives matter. You guys do matter to me. I just met you and interacted, but that's worth it. That's enough. And I want you guys to have your voices be heard. Again, reach out if you guys have any questions, you guys run into snags, if you guys have anything that's confusing, use your notary, use me. I can't notarize. I'll hang out here for a little bit if you guys have any questions. If you have any questions for the group, you're more than welcome to ask out loud. If there's private questions, I'll be here for a little bit as well.